Hola mi gente, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean and this is We Are Investing. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the scanner in Thinkorswim. If you're new to this channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, ringing that bell, and smashing that like button. All things stock market and currency. In addition to that, we also have a Patreon. It's a great way to support the channel. A link is provided down below. I'm going to show you how to create your own customizable scanner. I'm going to show you the scanners that I personally use. If you want links to those scanners, they're provided in the Patreon, where you can just follow along in the video and copy for yourself. I'm also going to show you a script for a high implied volatility study that I use to find stocks that are at high implied volatility. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. Now, a little background on myself and the strategies that I like to use. I like to invest in companies for the long term. I'm not really a trader. I do swing trade, but I do not day trade. I also like selling options to create monthly or weekly income by collecting premiums. I don't really like buying short-term options, but I do like selling them. I do like buying long-term options. They're called leaps, but nevertheless, I'm a long-term investor. I'm swinging stocks for at least a year, and I'm also selling options to collect weekly or monthly premiums against those positions. Those are the strategies that I like to use, but nevertheless, the scanner can be used for all kinds of strategies. I'll show you which ones I use. I'll show you how to create your own, and then you can explore and build on the information that I provide on today's video. But let's dive into it. To get started, we need to head over to the scan tab on Thinkorswim. It's up here, it's the fourth one in. You click on it, and then we're going to look at Stock Hacker. This is where we're going to be for the majority of today's video. Now, Thinkorswim comes with scanners already loaded into the platform, but you can create your own scanners. You can be as customizable as you want, and you can filter through so many things on this platform. Now, before we actually get into the scans, I want to talk about search results, because this is also customizable, and you can sort your search results by just clicking on the column. For instance, right now I am sorting it by volume. The stock with the highest volume is listed first in my search results. I have 50 of 53 stocks shown, so not all of them are shown here. To change that, I need to go to 200 stocks at least, and now I'm looking at all 53. But I can sort my search results by any of these columns. For instance, if I wanted to see which stock had the highest percent change on the day, I could just sort through that. If there is a category that is not already here, that is also customizable. You just hit this button, you hit customize, and then you can add whatever you want. I'm not going to add anything here because I like what we have displayed, and I think it provides us with enough information. So I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to return back to this screen. Now, it goes without saying that depending on how tight your search criteria is, that will limit how many stocks are actually showing up in your search results. You can have a search that isn't really tight and it doesn't really cut down the list, and you can see a bunch of stocks, or you can have a search that is extremely tight and no stocks pop up on your search results. This all depends on how many filters you have, but also depends on what you're scanning in. That's the next thing that I want to talk about with this user interface before we get into customizable scanners and the ones that I personally use. If you scroll up to the top here, you can see that we are currently scanning in all stocks. This is not limited. We're looking at everything right now, but we could change that. We can search by industry. Let's say we just wanted to see energy stocks. I can hit select all energy, and I can hit scan. And remember, we had 53, and now we have only 26 stocks. I can also be even more selective by saying intersect with. If I had another scanner, I could say the intersect with my personal scanner, and I want high IV, and then I can hit scan again. And as you can see, this was a little bit too selective and I had no matching symbols. So let me go intersect with, clear that filter, and hit scan again. We can also exclude stocks. For instance, maybe there is an OTC stock here and I don't want to trade OTC stocks. So I'll exclude all OTC stocks, hit scan again. And now I have 25 of 25. I think it said 25 of 26, so we excluded one stock from the list. You can mess around with those three filters here up top to also break down your search. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with excluding all OTC stocks, but I'm going to go back to all stocks and then I'm going to hit scan again. Now let's talk about some preset scanners that Thinkorswim has, and then we'll dive into customizing your own scanner. To get to the preset, you just click on this button here, and then you're going to hit load scan, and then you're going to see that there's personal. These are the scanners that you save. These are your own scanners. Then they have public, top 10, active on social. Active on social never works for me. But if we head back to public, you can see that there are many scanners already set. You can look at percent change gainers. You can look at many things. You can click on new yearly highs and we can scan. And this scanner gave us 128 stocks. Heading back to the preset scanners, you can also look at top 10. We can take a look at the top 10 gainers, the top 10 losers, the top 10 most active stocks on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. The top 10 stocks today for the NASDAQ were these 10 stocks. And the biggest gainer on the day was SNPX, which moved up 29.36%. Now each scanner has their own filters, and that is basically how you create your own customizable scanner. To create your own from scratch, you would click on that button again, you would hit load, and then you would hit create scan. And then down here you can name your scanner. For instance, we'll just hit test, and then we can hit save. Now we gotta load it, so we'll click on that again, we'll hit load, we'll go to our personal, and then we'll click test, and then we'll scan. As you can see, I don't really have any criteria, so I have a ton of stocks showing up right now, over 16,000 stocks. But to create our own scanner and set our own filters, we just modify what's already here. For instance, right now I have 3 stock options, and maybe the first thing that I can do is I'll change this to say that the last, which is the last price, has to be at least $10 and the maximum is $100. And then I can hit scan again. This is essentially limiting my scanner to stocks that are priced between $10 to $100 a share. Next on the list, I can say that I want volume to be at least 100,000. This will help ensure liquidity in that stock, meaning that it should be easy to buy and sell those shares. I can also add a percent change. Let's say I want at least a positive 5% change on the day, and then I can hit scan. I'm still showing 190 stocks, so I can add more filters. And if you click that add filter button up top, you will see that there are many options: stock, option, fundamental, study, and pattern. I don't mess with option in the stock hacker. I do mess with stock, fundamental, study, and pattern. And I'm going to show you examples of this by loading my preset scanners. And you'll see what I use stock, fundamental, study, and patterns for. So let's go to the first scanner that I want to talk about. Let's go to our load scan, go to personal, and let's go to swing trading rips. And let's hit scan. So I have 50 of 53, but I do not want to include OTC stocks, so I have to go to exclude, I have to go to category, and I have to exclude all OTC stocks and click the button. Now I'm showing 50 of 51. To keep this setting, I'm going to go click on that button up there on the top right, and I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to hit OK. So now that is set, and the next time that I go to load this swing trading rip scanner, it should exclude all OTC stocks. Now this scanner is very similar to the scanner that I showed earlier. Our last is at least $10 a share. We're looking for stocks with a volume of at least 100,000. We're looking for at least a 5% change on the day, a positive 5% change. I'm also looking for stocks that have a market cap of at least 250 million. All 4 of those are stock filters, but then I also have a study filter, and I'm looking for the RSI scan on the daily that is greater than 60. You can use the RSI, or you can use other things as well. You can look for MACD histogram crossovers, you can look for the RSI crossover, you can look for moving average crossover. There are many studies, but the RSI is a good one to start, and this is a swing trading rip scanner that I personally use. Now, one stock on the list that I'm currently eyeing up as a potential investment is Dutch Bros. Today, it was up 12%, has volume of 4.5 million. Now, a cool thing, when you have your scanner saved, you can have it on your watch list, and then it gets real easy to look through your scans. I'm going to minimize this quick chart. I'm going to expand this watch list. I'm going to minimize Trader TV to try to get as much room as I can, and I'm going to minimize news. Then on your watch list, you'll click select watch list, you'll go to your personal, and here you'll see your scanners. Then you'll click on the swing trading RIPS, which is the one we have here. We'll expand this to show as many as we want. I can expand this even more, and then I can sort, and I want to sort by percent change, and now I can take a look at stocks. And with this scanner on my watch list, it makes it real easy to take a look at the charts. I can link this with the symbol link of red. Then when I click on Bros, it's going to show the chart for Bros because my chart is also linked to that symbol link of 1. And as you can see, this stock is approaching an RSI of 70. It is ripping, and that is why it's on my swing trading RIP scanner. And I can filter through these stocks real easy by just selecting on the next stock, and then the chart's going to pull up. To make this even more powerful, you can click on the flexible grid, and then you can get multiple charts to pop up if you choose to do that. But I'm not going to go into extreme detail with this because this is worth its own video itself. Let's head back to the scan tab and let's minimize this. I want to show you the other scanners that I have. So I have one for swing trading breakouts, swing trading rips. I also have one for swing trading dips. This is basically the same thing, but I'm looking for stocks that are oversold. And if I hit scan, you'll see the stocks that are on the list today. There are 9 of them. And I can sort through percent change, and the biggest loser is AVXL. This is going to show you market hours. If a stock drops in after hours, it's not going to pop up on this scanner because the percent change doesn't include after hours. Those two are real simple scanners. They're easy to understand, but you will get quality companies and quality stocks pop up in your scanner. Let's go back to our load and let's look at one that's a little bit more complicated. Let's take a look at this 200-day moving average one because I think you will enjoy this. And let's hit scan. I have 50 of 79 stocks, so I'm going to move this to 200 so all of them pop up. I also need to exclude all OTC stocks, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to hit scan, and I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to hit OK. So the next time I load my scanner, I exclude all OTC stocks. Now this scanner is a little bit different. So the stock price needs to be at least $5, but it can't be more than 500. The market cap needs to be at least $1 billion. And then I have a fundamental study, and it's a price to earnings ratio, the current price to earnings ratio of a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 50. This basically ensures that I'm only dealing with profitable companies. Next on the list, you see that I have a study and then I have a custom. If I click on this, you will see what it is. And you can create your own. And I'm going to show you what this is looking for. This is looking for an open price that is greater than the exponential 200-day moving average, a low price that is below the 200-day moving average, and a close that is greater than the 200-day moving average. Essentially what I'm looking for is I'm looking for stocks that just bounced off of the 200-day moving average and can continue moving higher if that 200-day moving average is going to act as a support. If I hit OK and we go back to our charts and I expand this, and now I'm going to load that scanner, so 200-day moving average. I'm going to sort by percent change, the greatest one of the day, and then I'm going to look for stocks that I actually know. I'm going to click on AMD. I have to link my chart to it, so let's go to that one. Now when I click on AMD, that chart's going to pop up. I need to load my study because I do not have my moving averages shown, so I'll load my We Are Investing study, and now I have my 200-day moving average shown right here in light blue. And as you can see, we're just above it. So we did break above that 200-day moving average. So now that 200-day moving average could act as a support. And right now might be a good time to get into AMD. So essentially this scanner is looking for stocks around their 200-day moving average that could break out or use that 200-day moving average as a resistance. Let's go back to our load. Let's go to our personal and let's look at our low float stocks. So here again, we're looking for stocks that have a price of at least $5, but no more than 25. We're looking for liquidity because this is a low float scanner of at least 100,000 shares. And then we're looking for low float, so we're looking at a stock criteria, a stock filter of shares, and we don't want more than 20 million shares. And I'm also looking for unusual volume. I want higher volume than normal because then we could see a breakout. I want at least a 50% increase from normal volume. I'm looking over 30 periods and my period is a day, so I'm looking over the last month. Let's hit scan to see what shows up. We have 48 stocks. And if we wanted to take a look at the charts for one of these stocks, let's look at MPAA. We can just go to our charts and type it in this time, MPAA, to see the actual chart. And you can see that there was a spike in volume and maybe this stock is going to break out. So if we go back to our show scan and we load, there are a few that I still haven't showed you. Well, there's one, and this high IV, but I think you're going to enjoy this one if you like selling options. So what's the criteria? I want a share price of at least $5 to $250. The higher the share price, it's fine, but I just don't have a ton of money, so it might price out some options for me. I want at least 100,000 shares for volume. Now I have some custom studies. The first custom study is that implied volatility is greater than 0.45. If I click on this little pencil, you can see what the custom study is. And this is just a condition wizard. It's not a ThinkScript editor. It's real easy to do. All you do is you hit add condition, you search for a study, you then type in implied volatility. You're going to say is greater than, you're going to select a value, and you're going to put 0.45. And then you would hit save, but I'm going to hit cancel because I already done that. I'm going to hit OK. The next study is IV percentile, and I want the implied volatility percentile to be between 60 and 100%. To get this study, you'll just click add filter, you'll hit study, you'll click on this ADX crossover, you'll go to volatility, and then you'll click IV percentile, and you'll change your parameters depending on what you want to see. I already have it, so I'll delete it. And then I also have an RSI scan. I mean, this right here is just to limit down my search. Right now I have 55 stocks. I'm looking for an RSI greater than 20. So that's basically all of them out there, except if the stock is severely oversold. But depending on what my strategy is, if I want to sell covered calls, I want stocks that are getting a little bit overbought. So that way when I sell a covered call, it's not likely to get called on. So what I can do is I can use the RSI scan and I can change this to a higher number. Let's say I'm going to look for stocks that have an RSI of 70, indicating that they're overbought. I can hit scan. And now I only have 3 stocks on my list. It severely reduces the amount of stocks that I have shown. Let's reduce this down to 60 to get some more stocks. So now I have 9 stocks. That might be a good way to try to find stocks to sell covered calls against. Another thing you can do is you can look for stocks that are severely oversold and use that to sell cash secured puts when premiums are high. To look for stocks that are oversold, we're going to change this to less than, and then we're going to move this to 30, and then we'll hit scan. That criteria is a little bit too tight right now. There are no matching symbols, so we'll reduce this or bump it up to 50. Now I have 82 stocks. That's a little bit too much. Let's go to 40. And now I have 11 stocks. So maybe right now is a good time to sell cash secured puts on Snapchat. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is we're not scanning in all stocks. Because this is a scanner for options trading, I'm scanning in weeklies. And by doing that, I'm ensuring that all of the stocks on this list not only have options, but they also have weekly options. Now, one last thing that I did want to show you is if we take a look at the charts, you can see I have this IV rank study down here. Because I like selling options so much and I like when there's high implied volatility because that means my premiums are higher, this IV rank study is very useful. Now, this IV rank is a custom study. It's through a Thinkorswim script that I will provide on the Patreon. But it essentially lets me know how implied volatility is for the stock against the history of this stock. For instance, right now, implied volatility is high, it's 98%. The IV rank is 81%, and the IV percentile is 97. Essentially, 97% of the trading days over the last year, there are 252 trading days in a year, were below the current IV, meaning that the implied volatility right now on Snapchat is extremely high against its average. And if we take a look at the options for Snapchat and we take a look at today's option stats, we can see that the current IV is 81%, and we can see that the current IV percentile is 81%, and the implied volatility is 98%. If we head back to the charts, you can see the implied volatility 98%, IV rank, which is your percentile, 81%, and the percentile of the last year, 97% of the days, we had lower implied volatility. And that makes sense. We're heading into earnings. The stock market right now is extremely volatile, so those premiums are going to be pretty high for Snapchat. Now, if you have any questions, you can comment down below. I'll try my best to respond to comments there. You can join the Patreon, join the Discord, and talk to me there as well. I definitely will respond there because I'm on it all the time. And if you have any scans that you personally like that you would like to share with the community, feel free to include them down below in the comment section, or you can join the Patreon and talk to us there and share it with our community as well. Okay, mi gente, that wraps it up. I thank you so much for your time. If you like this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button, ringing that bell, and smashing that like button. Also, please consider joining the Patreon. I'll catch you all on the next video. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And this is We Are Investing, and together we are invincible. See ya.